Good afternoon for everyone. Thank you very much for giving opportunity to present our ongoing research titled The Two-Sided Paradox of Ageism During the COVID-19 Pandemic, the case of Hungary, Tunisia, and Uzbekistan. And research is done by me, PhD student, and my colleague, Emeshe, and our advisor, Professor Ivo Berde in Corvinus University of Budapest. So here is a briefly outlined, so the motivation and demographic and some economic characteristic of these countries, and followed by descriptive statistics, methodology, results, and conclusion. We know that in a couple of decades, the share of older people is increasing, followed by increasing life expectancy, and it causes dependency problems. And it brings naturally the need of older people to work longer. And with aging population in most countries, governments are encouraging their senior people, citizens, to remain in the labor market longer. And having long-term work depends both on the choices of older workers and also how these older workers are accepted by their employees as well. And in addition, the COVID-19 pandemic created special circumstances in terms of ageism. And governments wanted to protect the elderly as they are more particularly vulnerable to their disease, but their decisions provoked resentment among young people. And it is they think that it prevents them to pursue their normal lives. And this type of ageism is extremely damaging, and it is feared that it will further hinder all workers' labor market prospects. And here is the question that was this the case in general during the age of ageism? So our study aims to answer to this question. And our goal of this current study is to examine the current state of ageism in 3 countries with different circumstances while considering the effect of pandemic on all of them. So the choice of these 3 countries based on 2 criteria. First of all, we wanted to include in our sample that not only the geographically, but they are by different lifestyle, and also we wanted to focus on the countries that we are familiar with. And our hypothesis are follows. So aging narratives have become more negative during pandemic. For instance, COVID impacts is more associated with ageism than the other demographic characteristics of the respondents. And also the cultural argument linked ageism, and negativity towards older people depend on the geographical location of countries. So our data collection method, first we conducted a questionnaire survey among the people with higher education, because we wanted to cover only people with higher education, aimed that they are those ones who make decisions for company and public bodies. And they are the main drivers of employment of older people. And so our survey conducted in July and August 2020. And it was at that time in Hungary and Tunisia, the first wave of the pandemic was in decline. But in Uzbekistan, the number of cases had risen quite a lot. So we originally developed our survey in English, but we translated in each country their original language, so in Hungarian, Arabic, and Uzbek. And we sent our survey on internet forums and also through personal contacts. And we use the snowball methods to collect our data. And if we talk about these countries' economic and social backgrounds, these 3 countries, they differ from each other totally, not only geographically, but their economic and demographic structure as well. And here in this sample, in this table, we can summarize the data on each decade from 1960 to 2019. And we can see the social trends in over more than 50 years. And Here we can see that Hungary is the richest according to the GDP per capita among these countries, and Uzbekistan is the youngest and most populous countries. And also, while we see the trends, we can see that total fertility rate is totally declining in all of these countries, and also their median age and also their life expectancy of the citizens are increasing. And also, if we see their population age structure in Hungary, only the 65 and over is 1/5 of the population is 65 and over. It's quite a lot. So overall, we received more than 650 responses, but as I told above, that we covered only people with higher education. So we selected 431 responses, and here we can see in each country. So in Tunisia it is 94, in Hungary 148, and in Uzbekistan 189. And we asked about respondents' demographic characteristics, like their age and their household. And also we included in our survey, like in our questionnaire, COVID impact questions as well. So here we asked whether they worked during the pandemic, like as a doctor, nurse, or teacher, etc. And also we asked that whether did they help to others unofficially or did they receive. And also how this pandemic related to their future expectations. So did it make them less optimistic, or it didn't affect, or it make it more optimistic? And here, interesting, we can see that in Tunisia, like not in Tunisia, but overall in 3 countries, most of the people, they help it to each other, like unofficially. But in Tunisia, it is the highest one, so more than 70% of the respondents, they help it to each other. And also their expectation about future. In Uzbekistan, we can see that more than half of the population, they say that it makes them more optimistic about our future. However, in Tunisia and in Hungary, it is more than 60%, they said that it makes them less optimistic. So also in our main point, so we wanted to ask them about their opinion about older people. So we asked them questions about ageism. So here we had 6 questions related to ageism. So each question evaluated by 5-point Likert scale. And here older people we refer as a 60 and above. And higher the value means that the people evaluate older people more. And here, if we see the average scores of each, like aggregated these 6 questions, we can see that average score is about 4.28 in all countries, but much higher in Tunisia. Here we can clearly see that all people, they claim that they appreciate older people. And then we wanted to analyze our survey, and first of all, we wanted to check if our underlying assumption about the structure of the survey question is correct by conducting confirmatory factor analysis. For this, we use the GMOE software, and we can see that our structure data fits it fits our hypothesized data. And also, as we can see in the path diagram, so here we analyzed the rectangles and squared boxes are, it means the observed variables, and we analyzed how they link it to each other. Also, as we use it, our Likert scale, like 1 to 5, we wanted to make sure that it fits. So here we conducted the fit measures, and we found out that according to the results, so our model is accurate. Then, after confirming the structure of the survey and questions and their relation to each other, we decided to use partial proportional odds as well as heterogeneous choice models for evaluating of the survey. since our dependent variable is a Likert scale, like 1 to 5, we saw that ordinal logistic model seems a good model for us. However, first of all, you always run the ordinal logistic regression, hoping that the parallel lines assumption holds. And then after this, we conducted brand test to check our assumption. When it failed, and we used it as a conclusion for violation of this assumption, we used parallel lines partial or proportional odds model or heterogeneous choice of model. And we did these 3 models, and based it off Bayesian criteria, we chose the best model for us. So we evaluated each question separately, and we wanted to see which factors affect. So here in a red quadrangle, it represents COVID impact. And the blue one, it is the geography, as here in our confirmatory factor, we divided them into 4 categories, like ageism and COVID impact, demography, and geography. So then we analyzed how they impact to ageism. And here we clearly see that and there's this red lines, it means it is positive attitude, while in blue it means a negative attitude toward old people. And here we can see that most of the answers, it is related by COVID. For example, who didn't receive help, or who didn't help unofficially, they're like more negative toward older people. And also who are in they are future optimistic, like it is less about future optimistic, they're also more harsh to older people. And also we saw there is a like according to p-value, we decided that they have an impact to ageism. And here, for example, as we can see, geography also matters. Here, as their respondents, they live in a bigger cities, so they are more harsh toward older people comparing those two who live in a smaller neighborhoods. And then we wanted to analyze each country separately, and here we saw that, for example, the frequency of answers in Tunisia. So we saw that most of them, they answer the higher value. So here we can see it is the answers is homogeneous. So, and it is skewed to the left completely uneven. So it is basically constant. So here we can conclude that Tunisia is more favorable to older people. So it linked to their culture. So for ageism, culture factor also matters. And then we saw that there is a similarity between Uzbekistan and Hungary, so we could compare these two countries, and we can also in our each models we estimated the marginal effects to see, because it is more meaningful than the estimated coefficients themselves. And here there is a prediction of probability of negative or positive attitudes toward older people when all variables are set in their means. Here, if we compare these two countries, because in Tunisia we have found that it's almost constant, so they're more favorable to older people. And if we compare Hungary to Uzbekistan, we saw that out of the 6 questions, Uzbekistan have 4 questions. It is higher than Hungary about older giving their answer 1 or 2. It means so that they appreciate less older people. And we also see that their survey was conducted during the peak time in Uzbekistan. So also it linked to pandemic, because culturally we can see that in Uzbekistan older people are much appreciated. But this we can see the clearly impact of COVID, how it impacts so appreciating older people. And however, the positive answer, the prediction of giving positive answer is above the 70. So it means, so there are still people evaluate older people higher. And then we wanted to to analyze these 6 questions aggregated. Then our dependent variable was average point of supported for elderly. So we aggregated 6 questions together and found their average point, and it was our dependent variable. So then we used our software to find the best model based on adjusted R-square and the lowest error. And then we found out that when we estimated the whole sample, we found that who is less optimistic about older people, who is less optimistic about future because of pandemic, so they blame older people more. And also who lives in a bigger city, they are more harsh toward older people. And when we analyzed each country separately, we found out that in Hungary, who worked during the pandemic, they valued the elderly less. And in Tunisia, it was as age gets increased and that who receive help, they are less likely to be supportive toward elders. And when we analyzed their who gave these less answers, we found that it is older people. So it means that older people realize that they are a burden for the societies themselves. And in Uzbekistan, we can see that who couldn't earn as their same amount or couldn't earn at all during the pandemic, they blame older people a lot. So here we can also see that the clear evidence of their pandemic. So it also linked to ageism. So it is becoming more like harsh toward older people. And here we can conclude that according to our survey, the variation is scores between countries are relatively small, with higher average in Tunisia and almost identical scores in Hungary and Uzbekistan. However, we also found that the small causes ageism, and we found out that it is more related to pandemic. For example, as we have seen that who worked during the pandemic and who couldn't earn the same amount of money during the pandemic, and also who is less optimistic because of pandemic to the future, they are more harsh toward older people. And however, we can, and also the geographical cities also matters. For example, the people who live in a bigger cities, they are more harsh toward older people. And however, when we evaluated the scores, we have seen that most of the people, they give their like higher value for older people, these questions. And here our paradox remains that if the society accepts and values the older age groups, and why is the same not true on the labor market? Here we can link that it may be, for example, like a corrupted version of answers, that people, they think that they are not socially acceptable, and that's why they give more favorable answers to, for older people, that they have fear or they feel shy to give their true opinion. So thank you for your attention.